Hi, welcome to my video. One of the inventions that has been made from necessity for me. I have an envelope maker and I love it, but I had made my friend this birthday card, and you see it's quite embellished. It's got bows and flowers and everything, plus it's all pumped up with the puff squares or whatever, and so therefore it was just not going to fit in an envelope, even in an envelope that I made, because it was just too full. So therefore I made a thin box for it to go in, and the same thing happened then whenever I was making the envelope for my son's birthday card. This is one that I had made quite thick with all the puffed up or mounted, using my squares or circles to mount these, and then it just became a very thick card, so therefore it wasn't working in an envelope. So I just made the box for it to go in, because I was having so much trouble with all of those envelopes. And two, putting these in the mail, they kind of get messed up when you put them in even in one of the packaged envelopes sometimes with all of this on it. If you put it in a box, you can still stick it in one of those padded envelopes and send it off, and it protects it. Well, in order for you to do this, you've got to measure your card, which is measuring this one. By the way, I use this all the time. My scoring plate here. I just use it all the time. And so I just even use it for measuring. Well, this card is measuring 6 5/8, and it measures that on both sides, 6 5/8. So whenever by the way, I usually try to do it to match what I'm doing. And right here I have the fish in the box, and then I have the little fisherman there, and then I have all the fish and the starfish on top. So you can make your little boxes very creative to go along with your cards. But I'm making another one because I have twins. So I'm making the twins one I like as far as the size is concerned. So I'm going to make the box that the twins card will go in when it's completed. But the first thing that I do is I know that it's going to be 6 5/8. So I'm going to add 2 inches to that. So I'm going to be making it 8 5/8 inches all the way around, or on both sides. So I take my cutter here. I hope this is on the screen okay, but I'm taking my cutter and I'm measuring this out to the 8 5/8, which is what I'm going to need all the way around for the card to fit in. Okay. Make this one and 5/8 as well. Alright. I want the top to fit down this, and so I want an extra 1/8 on all sides, so they're going to go to 8 5/8 plus 2 more 8s. So I'm going to actually be making this 8 7/8, which is coming in right here. That way I will have the extra 1/8 of an inch space on all sides. Let me make sure I did that. And I love this paper. I think that is so cool looking. my cutter. For me, I don't know why it is, but I always feel better standing when I'm cutting. Then I'm going to take this, and on all four sides, I'm going to score this at 1 inch. And so that I have everything, and to make sure I don't make a mistake, I'm scoring it there, and then I'm turning it here, and then I'm scoring it on this side. Then I'm turning it here, and I'm scoring it on this side. And finally, I'll score it on the fourth side. But all the way around, it's scored at 1 inch. That way, all of the walls on the box are going to be the same height. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. Remember, I've got the extra 2/8 of an inch so that I can have room for this to fit without puckering up when I'm trying to fit it over. But I'm still going to need 1 inch drop on the sides. All of these are scored. Now, the bad thing about this paper is that it is sometimes really difficult to see your score lines. So I am going to turn this on the back side because I can see my score lines better. And then I have all these squares on the ends. And I'm going to take and cut the square along the score line to the next score line, and then I'm going to take and cut out just a little tiny sliver, or kind of like a triangle, going towards this flap. That keeps that one from showing when you flap it over. And there again, I'm going to do this one, and then take this one up and do it, and get my little sliver out. And I'm going to turn it to the opposite side. I'm cutting up to the score line, and then I've got to cut my little sliver out again. And score line. And my sliver out again. That one was a little bigger, but it's fine. Then I'm going to take this one. I'm going to find the side I can see it the best on, and I suspect it's going to make much difference on this one. There we go. Says this is a little slow, and maybe it is taking a little long, but my philosophy is that once it's cut, you can't put it back, so therefore take your time and make sure you got it correct. And that's what I tend to do. This being the bottom of the box, I will have the coral on the inside. Here, I'm going to take and fold these in, and I am going to make sure I have real sharp edges by using the bone folder to pull them down a little bit. make them very smooth. Now I'm going to take my tape, and as you see, I can go around, and I'm going to turn these little flaps in, and as I said, you probably just have to fold them a little to make sure they stay in, but by trimming off that little bit of an edge, then you don't have it showing over the edges here. So that's why I like to cut those little slivers in on this part rather than on this part. And there we go again, and then we got them all there, and that means I can go ahead and put the extreme combo. I like this stuff because whenever you use it, it's not going anywhere, and the only thing is sometimes you have to restart it. This one is, and then when you put it on, you're going to have to flick it over, and the reason for that is you only have to restart it. If it's not flicked, it will kind of lose down in there. And flicking your wrist over with it, it kind of tears it off to where it doesn't get messed up, and the end doesn't get lost. Okay. And this is the lid. To make sure that your sides are right, we'll just fold this in. Okay, now, there is that. Now, I'm going to do the same thing here. Put tape on all of these edges, or these little squares. And just keep doing it till I've got tape on all of them. Alright. Then we have, just turn them in. Okay. Mistake I see here. I actually cut this one in too far. I missed my line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo that, and if I pull this up, I can actually tape that together, and you'll never know what happened. See, that sometimes what you have to do to hide your mistakes. You see, I taped it with those together, and voila, it looks just fine. As I said, sometimes on this paper it's very difficult to see your score lines. So sometimes you'll miss them, and that's okay. You can figure it out. And then the lid fits on just like that without puckering. And then if I want to take the card, I'll just use this one for right now. I can take this card, I can stick it in here, and rather than an envelope, well, that one will go, but there we go. Rather than an envelope, it is that it won't fit in. You have a box that it will fit in, and then it won't get squished. And then just put the lid on it, and there you go. Put a ribbon around it. That's a gift too, because let's face it, I know on this one, doing all the little grass like I did, I took in one of those edgers that looks like grass, and I cut strips and put this on piece by piece. It took a very long time to do it, so when this is just about a gift in and of itself, considering how much time was spent on it. But then, so that's the main reason. You don't want it to get messed up. To make a box. That's all for this time. Thank you. I hope you'll join me again when I have some other inventions out of necessity.